What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got some breaking news for you. The Dolphins have made a signing. So it looks like Dolphins are going to sign ex-Lions cornerback Justin Coleman to a one-year deal worth up to $2.75 million. So this is interesting. I mean, I we're gonna learn a little bit more about him. I don't recall a lot. I mean, I know him, and I recall him being an all right corner. But I'm not super familiar with him, if I'm being honest. So we'll get a little bit more into what his history is. His professional career, what he's done, and so on and so forth. But it's interesting because before this move, the Dolphins were at about 25 million or so down to, with the other signings that they did with the punter and the other Bernardrick McKinney, and bringing in Isaiah Wilson and the running back something Brown. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but anyway, with the handful of guys, they're not big signings, right? Because they really didn't have that much cap space. They had about 37 million going into it, and they've whittled it down a bit to about 25 million. Now they have this contract. It's a one-year deal, 2.75 million. So they're getting close to about 20 million left in cap space. So that's part of why it's interesting. It's also interesting that it's a corner. The reason why it's interesting is because they already have, several corners on the roster, but they have two of the highest paid corners in the league, one of which wants a new contract. They just tendered Nick Needham. So I don't know, and there's no evidence to say exactly one way or the other yet, but one thing that pops into my head with this is there could be a possibility that they could be getting rid of one of those two high-paid corners. Now, which one it would end up being, I don't know. Either way, if it was Xavier Howard, that would suck because he's a monster, and the defense would not be able to afford losing him for sure. Byron Jones, I personally wouldn't care about losing him. I don't think he's really all that great. He's pretty good at being a shutdown corner. We already knew that, but he doesn't get turnovers, right? He just doesn't. He doesn't have the skills for it, apparently, right? So and he technically gets paid more than Xavier Howard does. So, but if they did get rid of him, then that would be another one of the big name free agents. And so if that was to happen, then I would say, why would you even do it to begin with? Why? If you're just going to get rid of literally all of them the next year, or by the time, the next year comes around, what the fuck was the point to begin with? Anyway, but we'll see. And, there is a possibility for that. Right? Now, there's definitely other corners or, players that could be cut, right, to save some money, and probably other corners that would even be the equivalent, as far as a cap hit to what he's going to be fair, right? But having said that, they also do need to clear a significant more amount of cap space, because they are, like I said, now getting down to the point where they have gotten it down to close to probably a little bit more than 20 million. So they're probably still at like 23-ish or so after this signing, right? So, and they're going to need about 15-ish million to sign their rookie class. So, they definitely, absolutely 100% are going to have to fill or clear more cap space. So how are they going to do it? So that's why it's interesting. That's why it's interesting that it's a corner, because if they were to get rid of one of those two high-paid corners, it would clear a lot of cap space. And we know that, right? So it's interesting that they decide to go get a cheap, thrifty corner, and maybe now they're going to get ready to cut bait with one of the other two. My guess is Byron Jones. I don't think they would be willing to just fucking get rid of Xavier Howard like that, because he just led the league in interceptions last year with 10, right? And just, he is a monster. Yes, he has had some injuries, which is something I take into consideration too, especially considering his injuries are knee injuries, which is definitely concerning. But at the same time, the most recent history and all of his history is that for the most part he's been on the field and he has produced at an extremely high level. I mean, last year, 10 interceptions, 20 passes defense, right? So, you know, you get the picture. And so I don't think it would be Xavier Howard. I would hope not, but really, as I've said before, no player is safe, and he does want a new contract. Not to mention, he has had now a couple, legal issues to boot. So, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I would like to think that this is not a possibility, but there is, I suppose, some, like, and I'm laughing about it because it even seems super ridiculous to me. But there is, I guess there is some world out there where the Dolphins could decide to get rid of both Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. Now, Xavier Howard, I'm almost certain they would trade, though, as well. Especially because, as I've mentioned a bunch of times, they did structure his contract pretty team-friendly to the team receiving him and his contract. And so they could probably get a good little package for him, right? Jalen Ramsey got, what, 2 first-rounders? They probably could get something close to that, if not that. So if they were going to do something with Xavier Howard, I would most likely expect them to trade him. And that would clear a lot off the, of cap space. But it would also leave a major, major void in the secondary that I promise you this dude will not fill. Yeah, anyway, so that's what I got for you. That's the breaking news. I just wanted to let you know. With that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.